All right, going live, late night, getting situated. Appreciate everyone that's taking the time to be here for the late night stream today. But everything got messed up, guys. My freaking OBS. I come home right now, just got back from the airport, and literally my OBS is like destroyed. Or not destroyed, but like look at. I don't know. Why is that? Oh my goodness. I think we're rolling. But I don't know why it's frozen on this scene from me in the earlier part of the day. Kind of crazy, but here we are, just getting set up. Also gotta get the lighting fixed up. But yeah, guys, we out here. Just another day in the life. What am I doing? Oh. Alright, give me one moment. Boom. Get the lights. Be right back. Stick with me. Damn. This washing machine's being stupid loud right now. Crazy, guys. Absolute craziness lately for me. But what's even crazier is that GameStop continues to evolve as a company, and they are now basically profitable. Of course, we'll have to see if that continues. But I'm just really excited going through the 10K. But there's a lot more I have to go through. I really haven't had a chance to really like break it down and dissect it. Eventually, I actually want to like print the whole thing and just go step by step. I believe I even had the file downloaded somewhere, and I started marking it up, but just really didn't have the time today. It's been so much going on lately, but I just like the stock. I love the company, so I got to keep up with it best I can. Yeah, I hope that background isn't annoying. Washing machine is just going crazy right now. I just set it up. You must be tired, man. Danzo, dude, always on the grind out here. You know what's up. Literally, OBS is broken right now, and I don't want to rock a Florida shirt underneath, but it's hot down here too. BBY holders mad because GMERICA didn't mean merge with GME. Yep, honestly, that's the thing, but it wasn't that. Ready, GameStop. Sean, thank you for being here. You know what's up. And then Anthony G before said, I may have been early to the stream, but I wasn't wrong. Anthony G knows the vibes. XBit, if you're here, thank you. Appreciate you, man. What's up, my dogs? Tetron grinding. Ryan Sung, you know what's up. It's crazy. Just so much like on the go, and also a lot of just like taking care of myself. Maybe that sounds like silly. Just as a young individual, a lot of just figuring out things like that. So just really been grinding on that. And, getting organized and all that good stuff. This is something for my friend here. I got to look at. I love hockey, so I got that pulled up. Organization with the calendar. But let me see if I can fix OBS real quick. And then I really want to get into like the 10K. I don't know why some of this stuff like just disappeared. kind of unfortunate. At least this one could be fixed. I don't know why. They look beautiful, but boom. There we go. And then I think I deleted the Twitter logo because I was cleaning up my laptop trying to make it like run smoother so these streams are like better quality until I can get my new computer. But it seems like I accidentally deleted the Twitter logo and maybe this stuff too. I don't really know how I did that though. But all right, you can see in like Tetron behind the scenes, but I got a little border around the webcam now, so you know, brick by brick, step by step, and trying to work on stuff. But let's just go ahead and get right into the 10K. Honestly, just move this up so it looks different. Boom, easy peasy. All right, let's just get right into the stream. But 10K is here, and something that's certainly on everybody's radar. I mean, I know it's on mine. I don't ever want to just speak for everybody, but the way that the DRS count was reported was really strange, and they actually mentioned Seed & Co. I find that super interesting. What exactly it means, couldn't tell you because I still have to look into it more. But it's certainly interesting. I mean, if you look at the last 10K, it wasn't written like that. I thought, oh, maybe those were 10 Qs, and that's why like, oh, this many shares are held at our transfer agent. Let me see what they did last 10K, and last 10K was different. So that was certainly interesting. Yes, this is where I want to be. Let's see. Seed. It was here. I don't know. Maybe I need to refresh this real quick. To give everything a quick refresh. My laptop was in sleep mode. But just some things I'm going to go through. And also want to quickly say that I think there's more to come with GMERICA. I mean, maybe that's just a lot of hope. But I don't know. I just don't see how they could have filed the trademark and kind of just let it build in terms of hype for this long without there being something bigger going on. I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. You know, GameStop's going to move brick by brick. Of course, I wanted to hear more today, but I really feel like there's no dates. I've really learned over time. There's really no dates, no times. Like, it's just about the long term, but that's just what I think. Let's go. Glad to be here live. What up, Ben? Appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Here for the good vibes. Yeah, so Green Park Sports, this is just a random thing I opened because I was like, oh, these are pretty cheap. I've never really heard of it, but apparently they have an app. I downloaded on my phone. I'm going to try and mess around with it, where you start to see apps that are games that are in the form of an app or, you know, online or maybe both. I think that's really interesting where you can see GameStop NFT being involved in apps in some shape or form. Maybe just the beginning, and maybe, you know, nobody's ever really heard of Green Park Sports. I didn't know what it was before I stumbled upon this. But point is, it's a starting point, and it's really going to take, you know, years for certain games to start to stand out. But just seeing some games have a mobile presence, I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. But also, let me just quickly make sure the stream looks good on my phone here. Okay. All right, we're chilling. Doesn't look too bad. Definitely got to reorganize more over time, but we're getting there. But obviously, you know, again, with GMERICA, wanted there to be more. But other subtle clues, I think I saw one of the presidents is winking in this, and they also have Buck the Bunny. So why is Buck like all over the place with this stuff? Who's winking? Let me see. Oh, right here. Yeah, there's a wink there. And remember when Ryan Cohen winked in his interview with GME DD? I don't know. Maybe there's something there. Maybe it's nothing. But what could it be? I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. But I really, really do feel like there's still more to come because see, there's Buck again. You have a countdown there: T minus 10, T minus 9, T minus 8, T minus 7. So that's interesting. Got the engines ready to go. GameStop gearing up, like with all the the very large array as if like, powering up for something. So it's just like more teasing. And the way, of course, I'm only speaking allegedly, right? Or you can think what you want, is what I'm trying to say. But a day like today, GameStop puts out a date and a time something's going to come out, and it just turns out to be GMERICA. But look at the news articles that came out today from Kotaku, that like garbage one. Kotaku, GameStop, they always tweet some garbage. Yeah, let's see their main website. I bet they have GameStop on here. It was whatever. It's on their Twitter. Kotaku Twitter. So what I'm trying to show you though is they had an article. Wall Street Journal had an article today. I'm pretty sure it's on the cover of Wall Street Journal of GameStop. So let's see. Do. Okay, and also by the way, I'm just calling it as it is and what it looks like. 39 likes, 27 likes, 28 likes, 63 likes, 20 likes. Like, look at that sentiment on the tweets. But then look for their GameStop one. It's earlier today. We gotta scroll down more. Make them available, then it should pop up. But it's here. I'm telling you, it's here. Oh, okay. GameStop blames its lower sales on lack of games. And they put this like old ass picture up, like who knows where this is even from. I love the replies. Everyone's like just clowning around. Whatever. But I mean, nobody even follows this account. But the sentiment here, a little bit more. But I was actually thinking it was like some of their previous stuff. If you look at some of their old tweets about GameStop, huge amounts of likes and retweets, which it's like, they don't really get that attention anywhere else. And then they also had the Wall Street Journal article. And where I'm slowly moving with this is that just by GameStop putting out a date and a time, there's all this anticipation building. And the media just so suddenly decided we're going to put out these hit pieces. We're just going to put out these articles just talking negatively about GameStop. The earnings has been out. Like, why today, the same day? It's just very interesting timing. This was perpetuated by, Justin says, that was perpetuated by media sources like this. I'm sure people will continue to monitor these articles and authors so they can be reported to regulators. The attempted sway of the narrative can be seen as nothing other than market manipulation. 30 likes. Should we check out the other comments? I don't usually look at comments on here. I think the earnings got us hyped and had us looking for a good streak with groundbreaking news. I think you're right, Ryan. And I really feel like GameStop knows, though, like, they could put this out here and say, we're going to do something, and there'll be a lot of hype, and people like myself will be, okay, well, I wish there was more, but at the end of the day, it doesn't change how I feel about the company in the long term. So I feel like knowing that the other side would start, like, showing their hand, so to speak. It's almost like a giant chess game. Like, I know it's all the jokes about like Adam Aaron and like 4D chess, but like I really feel like Ryan Cohen is really playing 4D chess with Wall Street. Like he's slowly, because think about it, he's generally a young guy. Like I'm a super young individual, but Ryan Cohen is still a young guy, especially for like Wall Street. If you look at the average age of people around there, so the way he's just coming in, like kind of just swinging his thing around, you know what I mean? Like being that guy, and he's like, nah, like I'm gonna be chairman of GameStop. And I know there's all these other reports about these other companies he's buying into. I don't truly know if those are true. Like reports, if he's actually buying into like, for example, Alibaba or Nordstrom, I'll believe it when I see a filing. But I haven't really been looking out for a filing because that's just not my main focus. My main focus is GameStop. So if there is one, definitely let me know. But what I'm going with this is, if he did invest in these other companies, I feel like he's just walking to Wall Street and he's just doing what he wants. Like he walks into companies and he's like, "Hey, this is what you should do." And like the fact that this generally younger guy has influence like this, and he's saying though, and he said it in the past, GameStop's his main project and where his focus is and his energy. Everything else is just extra and like a sideshow. But just think that's kind of cool. Then interesting comment right here, which we'll also talk about from a couple Reddit posts I'm going to show you guys. Tetron Grinding, you know what up. I think the earnings. Oh, XBit, what up? Appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Just caught that there. But damn, hold on, guys. I got to grab some water. Give me one moment here. All right, refreshed. Let's keep rolling. Things good on OBS, looking decent. Not the cleanest setup, but we are chilling. Please explain how GameStop have hit the brakes with e-commerce push. They are a multi-channel business, finding extremely bullish. They're making improvements to their store offering. Customers still enjoy in-store experience. This is fantastic news, whether the shorties like it or not. See, I haven't even read it because it's behind a paywall, so I'm not gonna pay these assholes. I'm good on that, but let's read this real quick. This might be related to the Reddit post I was going to show. GME 10K shows for the first time that DTCC and Seed & Co. are misreporting the numbers of shares they hold. This is what Eric F. says. Total float is being reported on Q3 10Q is 308 million shares. If you remove mutual funds, 32.8 million shares, and individual household investor shares, 76 million, referencing the DRS count from the float. 110.31 million. The DTCC should only hold 197.69 million shares, yet they reported holding 228.7 million. That's a slight discrepancy of 31.01 million shares. Don't need to take my word for it, but you can see it on the SEC website. You won't see this reported by the mainstream media. They're too busy making up stories like the one above. It's a textbook short and short campaign to keep you from noticing GME is cutting costs, turning a profit, and has a path to full year profitability. Yeah, the company now has consistent commentary on full year profitability and just turning a profit in general being a main focus. So I really do think that's exciting. And I think they'll continue to work towards that and build on that, and I think the numbers will speak for themselves. You know, people are already saying like, "Oh, GameStop can't be profitable." Oh, yeah, this, all that. 2 quarters in a row with free cash flow being positive now. Quarter 4 being profitable, and the company cutting costs. You know, the profits. People are like, "Oh, it's just because they sold more." Excuse me. Goddamn, what just happened? Excuse me. Choked my own words there. On their inventory, and it's not that though because yes, they have a little bit less inventory, but one, I think that was trying to get ahead of shortages and just generally prices inflating over time. And beyond that, most of what GameStop's selling doesn't have like expiration dates. But even like without that, look at their cost of goods sold as well as their other like costs just across the board and the actions they're taking in terms of laying people off. Cost of goods sold and selling and general administrative costs are 2 main spots they're cutting. So they're just operating more efficiently over time. And they basically like made the message clear that, okay, well, if we can't make a segment of our business or a certain store or whatever it is, like be working and an effective part of what we do in terms of turning a profit and just rewarding shareholders and just growing the company, then we have to trim it off. And I really feel like how companies get driven into the ground, what I'm starting to understand is Wall Street, you know, if allegedly puts people on the inside and they just make poor decisions from within, such as like, oh, that store's not profitable. Yeah, just send them more merchandise. Like, to my, you know, what I'm saying there's much more to it than that, but on paper, it seems like, oh, yeah, that's a great solution. And that's how companies kind of get driven into the ground. So, understanding that there's a guy like Ryan Cohen at the wheel who wiped out the board and brought all new people in that are, by the way, shareholders themselves, it makes me a lot more confident that they're going to make those decisions to make them profitable and that they don't have that like rotten core within. Because when there's not share ownership, the core could be rotten. You might have to look deep and you might not know for sure. It could just be allegedly. But when nobody owns shares on the inside, it's just like, oh, well, how could you truly ever really know? Like, I don't know. It's just kind of what I realized over time. But that's just some of my thoughts. I'm buying that Zelda Switch. Mahari, thank you for being here. Should always shop GameStop. That's the way to go. Ryan Song, what's your take on DRS numbers? Real quick, I gotta plug this in because my laptop is dying. But honestly, I'll be honest. Like I put out a tweet today, I thought it would be a little bit higher, but at the end of the day, I really think the numbers just gonna keep going up quarter over quarter, and truly, what it is just unprecedented because when have you ever seen 25% of a company's outstanding shares just directly registered? But of course, some of the questions I have or I really want to clarify, but it's just so hard to find this information. That's really the biggest challenge with all this stuff, in my opinion, and like why this whole movement's kind of crazy is it's you realize like it's so hard to gain access to this information. Like, is it DRS count? Like I started thinking like, well, what if it includes like insiders? Well, then how do I know what insiders have their shares directly registered and which ones don't? And why don't they all? And then, from what I understand from this Reddit post we're going to dive into, shares in mutual funds are not supposed to be represented by Seed & Co. or registered to Seed & Co. So it's just so many gray areas. That's kind of the craziest part. But what is black and white to me is if the company makes money or not. And I really feel like that's what the core of everything is. And that's really where the message of shop GameStop first is like why that's so important. Because if you love the company, you have to shop the company and support the brand because that's really how they do turn a profit. You think, well, I'm just one guy, I'm just one gal, I'm just one individual. But it really boils down to individuals, and just like there's 197,000 plus individuals that like the stock, but it's just the way it goes. So total number of shares DRS increased, but the number of investors that DRS decreased. Did I completely misread that? If so, is irrelevant or concerning? Xbit says irrelevant. Why is the computer shared GME stunk DRS number higher? Why is it inaccurate? So those are some good questions. I want to say Movier, thank you for being here. Danzo, also thank you for being here. But yeah, I didn't really catch that. I still have to look through the 10K more. So I actually didn't even see that the number of investors technically decreased. So I would have to kind of look at that again. But yeah, I would also kind of say, irrelevant because if somebody doesn't believe in the stock long term, I mean, the total amount of shares is increasing. So people that are believing in the stock long term are just increasing their position. And then Danzo, you do have a good question. Why? I don't know because at the end of the day, I mean, it could be various things, right? Could be bots just pumping out posts, fake ones, but I don't know who would fake it. And I'll be honest, I personally don't post it on Reddit when I DRS. I'm not really even a big Reddit guy. Like the only like I've gone on Reddit here and there, and like I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, but I've never just been huge on it. So really only like Super Stonk ever had my attention. And back in the day, like in high school, I knew about Wall Street bets before it was like the thing or it was like widely known. I remember my friends, like my couple buddies, like they're great guys. I should have them on here. I have friends that are actually twins, super cool guys, a couple years older than me. So I knew them in high school, and they're like, "Oh, you're interested in stocks, Noah?" Like when I was like sophomore, they're like seniors. Like, you got to check out this Wall Street Bets thing. And I was like, oh, okay, what's that? They're like, oh, trust me, it's all about the tendies. And I was like, what does that mean? They're like, you'll find out soon. But those guys are hilarious. But I mean, they're not even like huge stock guys, so they were just dabbling in it. But that's kind of how I found Wall Street Bets, and that was like long, long ago. But to answer your question, though, Danzo, or I'll check what you guys say real quick. We're the first company in history to register the float. Facts. It seems like it's going that way, XBet. That is awesome. There's no computer shared reduced figures to match the earnings. Reddit has been compromised. Yeah, I think it's that, honestly, XBit. It seems like it's just people, skewing the numbers in some way, shape, or form. Um, because, yeah, at the end of the day, we don't know. But also, someone like me is not posting them. So I think, well, there's also a ton of people not posting them for every person that's, like, posting an extra one. So it's really hard to say. But, yeah, it seems like the data could just be skewed in some shape or form, or something in the reporting. Some rule technically changed, right? Maybe that's why the 10K looks different this time. Oh, this is last year's 10K. I just realized that. Duh. Because I wanted to have this one up for comparison. And something I also realized, 8.9 million shares of our common A stock were directly registered with our transfer agent. 1 year later, we went from 8.9 million to 76 million. That's quite incredible. I mean, obviously, it was a way different point in time when this 10K was reported, but it's still incredible the number could go that much. That could rise that much in 1 year. Reddit has been compromised. Hi, friends. Anthony G, thank you for being here. I saw your chat before that you were early but not wrong in the stream. Respect. Thanks for being here. I'm not even allowed to post my DRS, so I thought it was underestimated on Reddit. I like how the 10K gave us a ton of hints to DRS. Yeah, no, definitely, Danzo. It's interesting that the 10K like mentioned it the way it did. So very simply here, and it's with the shares outstanding, like how the restricted stock units, restricted stock options, all the little technical stuff of the shares. Then look at this 10K. Fuzzers got owned so bad. Yeah, I mean, when the company turns a profit and you're betting against it, that's obviously not what you want to see if you're betting against it, right? But just numbers don't lie. That's my favorite saying or favorite thing I've always kind of thought for a long time since I got into stocks and just interested in math or economics, whatever. But I'm just like, all right, numbers don't lie. I mean, it's just that simple at the end of the day. Trust me, your Reddit is fully compromised. I do trust you, X, but I think you're right. What up, John Lacey? Thank you for being here. Appreciate you, man. Shout out, I'm John Lacey, the big homie. Challenger, thank you for being here. Appreciate you as well. I think Cohen, I think RC Ryan Cohen buys in after we hit a certain percentage of DRS. Ryan Sung, I did actually have a crazy theory on that, but I kind of dismissed that theory in my head because I was like, well, I'll tell you the counter first. The counter is if he does this, he's going to get all kinds of regulatory scrutiny, like lawsuits, everything. They're going to come after him in every which way because it'd be like crazy. But my thought was, yeah, what if he just comes in because he's eligible to own up to 20% of the company. Right now, he owns a little bit under 12%. What if he just came and bought up the last 8% of shares outstanding available when it just gets to the point so many are directly registered? That would be nuts. Like, that would be crazy. He just comes in, he uses his final 8% to buy, like, or I don't know how many 8%, whatever 8% of, let's say, 8% of 308 million. This is all, rough numbers. So it'd be like another 24.6 million shares, which would be a ton of shares. So imagine he just comes in, buys those up. I mean, and just directly registers them. I mean, I think that'd be kind of crazy. It'd be epic, but I think one, his original entry was much, much lower. And two, if he did that, he would just get they would give him so much crap, or like I don't know. I just feel like it wouldn't be allowed to happen if that makes sense. If it truly is that limited amount of shares available in that moment in time when he goes to do it, I think it'll be blocked in some way, shape, or form, unfortunately. But at the same time, you'd have to think. I mean, this is around the time he bought last year. Now we're like 1 year ago, 1 week, 1 year, 1 week ago today was about the time when he bought shares. So that's certainly interesting. But we'll see. We'll see if he buys more shares. We'll be definitely on the lookout. Or if any board members, because it was pretty awesome how, like, out of nowhere, this same time last year, things seemed kind of grim, kind of bleak. Markets were just kind of starting to turn down. GameStop was really falling. Lowest price it had been in quite a long time. And then Ryan Cohen just comes in, buys up shares. Two other members of the board come and buy shares. Tal Allen and Larry Chang each buy shares. So 3 out of 6 board members, including chairman of the board, come swoop in and buy shares when the stock price is declining. So that shows confidence in the company. And we see now they report a profit. And of course, we want to see, are they going to report a profit in the coming years, or coming quarters rather? But I really think it's definitely on the table, or if anything, maybe Q1, Q2, kind of slightly net negative, more so break even. And then Q3, Q4, we really see profitability kick in again, and then just continue on going into 2024. But we'll see. Numbers don't lie. Ryan Cohen putting the nail in the coffin like a superhero. That'd be crazy, Danzo, but I think they get so much crap, unfortunately. A lot of communities woke up the past week. The BBI grift and AMC grift can't compete with GME. Even if there's just one share available, the volume will be 2 million average somehow. That's right, Challenger. I think that's a fact, unfortunately, because it seems like somehow, some way, shares just keep trading, 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 and it's like, who's trading these shares? Who's really exchanging these shares like back and forth each day? So it's just interesting. But yeah, I think you're right, Denzel. Yeah, the BBY grift and AMC grift can't compete with GME. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, both of those names, are about to do reverse stock splits, and it's just simply never good. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think the controversy with BBY, I guess I'll actually just say real quick on this. I understand both sides, but I want to be very clear. I'm only GameStop, and like I'm only in GameStop. Like I'm not touching BBY at all. But the whole argument with BBY is it's a trade to make money for GameStop. And if you could trade and you feel like that's your game, good for you. And like I really do wish you all the best. And sure, go ahead. But I think the counter argument is what most people are like. No, like it's all just distraction. And again, everybody can do what they want as an individual. Let me be very clear. But the side of like, well, it's just a lot of distraction. Um, it's because people start buying and holding BBY, and the ones that are like, yeah, it's a MOAS, same setup as last time with GameStop. Like it's not the company. You have to look at the company at the end of the day, and Bed Bath & Beyond is unfortunately just not in good financial shape. So I just personally don't feel like it's an investment. It's not. It's a trade, and if you can trade it and you can make money, I really am happy for you, and I really do wish you all the best. But I mean, if you are investing in it, like I really, really think you should take a really, really deep dive. And just this high interest rate environment, that's the number one issue I see, with a couple other issues, but whatever. It's just crazy. Like I just see a certain individual that started a show, and I'm like, look at all this. Like I don't know. I don't want to. I don't want to be talking bad. You know what I mean? But I'm just like, really, like all these viewers, like, what are you even talking about? And you just seem to like ramble and just. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know. But at the end of the day, everybody can do what they want, and I'm really not trying to talk bad at anybody. But I just see certain people, and it's like, just seems like maybe they're trying to take advantage of something a lot of people are talking about. That's all I'm saying, allegedly. But um, even if there's one, oh yeah, if it's a dying game corner shop can beat out top dogs, and why can't your stock? Yeah, Challenger, I saw they got 2.4 million shares to lend out today. Interesting timing. No one's selling. LOL. Yeah, it's just the same song and dance. AMC and BBY are going to zero. Laughing my ass off. It's not a trade either. Yeah, I mean XFIT. I mean, I guess if you get in and out, it's a trade, right? But I think, yeah, most people, the unfortunate thing is with those names, like it's just being very, very heavily diluted, and it seems like it's going towards private equity. Of course, I don't know anything for certain, but time will tell, reports will tell, numbers will tell, because that's all official. But smoking Kool-Aid. Yeah, no, I'll tell you guys. I'll be honest. There was a point in college I was smoking like Juuls and shit like that, and I just started because somebody I would just hang out with had one, so I just started doing it, and then I was like, oh, I'll just get my own. And then all of a sudden, I was like, huh, well, now I kind of need this thing. And then I was like, damn, this is bad, isn't it? So I really had to kick that because then it just occurred to me, I'm like, how can this taste like a peppermint when there's no peppermint in this thing? It's just some fucking weird juice. So like, I don't know. I really just tried to stay away from that, but I don't want to get all like philosophical here or whatever. You think the bank stocks will make a comeback? Um, Honestly, Mahari, I think they're going to be very volatile. I think they're in for more trouble, but it could be months before that happens again. I think it feels very fast because we're in the moment and a lot just happened in the past like month alone. But if you like zoom out, I feel like 2023 and as a whole won't be good for them, but the next few months they could absolutely bounce back. I think that's totally possible. But really what I expect is like volatility with them. Because I mean, even if you've just watched, like for example, the one I've been kind of keeping an eye on, is like First Republic. That one's been bouncing all around. I feel like every day in the pre-market it's up or down like 10 or 15%, which is just kind of crazy. Um, Time I saw a good expo on BBY, the grifters came out in dozens on my feed to tell people a reason to hold. Yeah, I mean it's interesting because it's just strange that some of them have like or like seem like an all GameStop page, and then it's like, yeah, Bed Bath and Beyond, and like I don't know, it just for me as a GameStop shareholder and like all the narratives that have been tried to be told and like all the storytelling, like it's just I'm so skeptical, of everything always. So that's just I feel like how you got to be in general. So at the end of the day, though, I think what kind of unites people that like GameStop is just like, hey, well, if you want to do whatever you want, at the end of the day, like I can disagree with you or do whatever, but we both just like GameStop, so it's not gonna like change the fact we both just hold it. Like kind of is that neutral thing amongst people of various opinions and harsh and light opinions, if that makes sense. But if Amazon does take over AMC, which would be a beast move after buying MGM and Whole Foods, they would make a killer on profit of just snacks and alone for cheap products. Vaping causes cavities and popcorn lung. Yeah, no, it's funny. Why would Amazon take on billions in debt? It's illegal for monopoly laws. If you produce films, they can't own a theater. It's not going to happen. I'm John Lacey. No one, the apes are buying AMC popcorn stores. Oh, Denzel, I didn't know that monopoly law. Appreciate it. That actually changed a lot of my own plans. Yeah, no, John, I see your perspective where like it seems like it would be a good idea to like fit it in with everything Amazon does because they could integrate it. I definitely see the perspective, but the underlying thing is the business is just run so poorly, so they would have to completely revamp it. But the bigger issue is that there's tons and tons of debt that come with it. So Amazon would be buying a company that has like a market cap of I don't even know what right now. And then you'd also I guess have to tie in the ape market cap. But for a company with like almost 10 billion in debt and it's just diluting heavily right now for 2.5 billion. So what would they like they're going to come in and buy it out, spend the money to pay for it, but then they're also going to take on a lot of debt. So I just feel like that would be very unfortunate for Amazon. But at the end of the day, I like GameStop, and it also seems convenient timing that the story came out like right before like there was hype for GMERICA, and it just turned out to be a couple NFTs. But I don't know, just all stuff off the dome there. Makes sense if that were not the law, then Disney would own the theaters and monopolize their films. That'd be horrible. Yeah, that'd be crazy. I thought they lifted that law last year. Actually, I'm not even entirely sure the law you guys are talking about. I would have to reference it more. But, dude, love that everyone's having convos. That's what it's all about. Fantastic point with Disney that never occurred to me. And Amazon has Prime TV shows and movies that wouldn't make sense. Yeah, no, you're chilling, John. Don't worry, guys. I'm John Lacey, friend of the show, big homie. So he's always just here sharing his thoughts and opinions, just like me. Got to keep the convos going. But I do have to look into Green Park and showing these, but I'm going to get to this post actually. Your take on how this banking crisis unfolds. Ryan, honestly, I don't know. I've gone back and forth in my head a lot because I've said it before, I'll say it again. I haven't lived through like 2008 or anything truly that it's a crisis. But what's really scary is seeing right now Saudi Arabia and Russia and China all kind of coming together and starting to do deals, and the dollar doesn't seem like the world reserve currency anymore. And that's like never really happened in like a really, really long time if you just read anything on it. And just that very simple fact is like, what is going on here? Is this time different? But then I also have some faith that, like, I mean, it sounds corny, but like, dude, this is fucking America. Like, some Americans are about to stand up at some point and be like, enough of this bullshit. We gotta like do something. But I mean, at a certain point, is it like too late? I don't know. But one thing I will say, like, and I don't hope it's not like chaotic. I don't know anything. I'm just a young guy just talking on the internet at the end of the day. But my prediction is it needs to get a lot worse before it gets better. And unfortunately, I think a lot of the big banks are going to get even bigger out of this. But maybe some rules, maybe I'm just a little bit too optimistic, but I think things will get worse before they get better, and it'll be worse in 2008. Um, and when I say I'm optimistic, that maybe this time something will actually change. People who actually or doing stupid shit and screwing over a lot of innocent people that don't even realize they're being screwed over just because there's poor decisions being made and greed at the top level, maybe some of those people actually get in trouble and things will actually be different in the future. So I don't know. That's just kind of some of my thoughts, but anything could happen in this crazy world. That's what the past few years has taught me. Because remember when we all thought like, oh yeah, we'll go back after the pandemic. It'll just go back to normal. When is it going back to normal? When did we ever get back to normal? We just live in like a new way of living. Like it's crazy. But yep, I'm glad to see my point. Generally, see the people who grift this are lying so hard with trick people. It's true, Danzo. It's unfortunately true. Tetron Marantz is the creator for finding out these monopoly laws. He put a short video out. Dude, thank you for telling me that. I'm gonna go find that. I gotta catch up on my rants. I haven't been watching him enough. Big homie right there. Listen to what Tetron just said. $5 billion of debt for a company with a $2 billion market cap. Yeah, craziness. It is crazy. Horrible investment by Amazon, but let's be honest, it'd be pocket change for them. LOL. It's true, movie here. They could just be like, yeah, just fucking dump it in. But what is BBY's debt to market cap? Dude, theirs is horrible. I just saw China and Brazil are not needing dollar more. They can directly convert now. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Because, yeah, I know Brazil is also a pretty big country that's not considered like the West. But yeah, PenBet has a 94 million market cap. And people say, oh, yeah, they have a lot of revenue, but they're losing money. And 3.7 billion in debt and just burning through cash. And you have to remember too, Bed Bath was buying back stock like here or not even here. Like here maybe, or was it, I don't know, but they were buying back stock way above where it's at now, unfortunately. It's very unfortunate, but it's just the way she goes sometimes. Oh, see, why was this reported? I mean, why was this removed? This was an interesting. This was a really interesting post. Did he repost it? Let's check out this guy. I'm over 18. I promise. BBY is going to 50 cents. It could be XBit. Let's see. GME over the US dollar. Dude, GME is my favorite asset. That's for sure. Let's be honest. No one in the financial world or wants or cares about AMC. Yeah, unfortunately, it seems like that. Crap, I need to see BBY's quarter three earnings. It's only less than 2 weeks away for their quarter four. We'll have to see. BBY is going to 50 cents. 50 cents. Well, BBY is sell candy there. Too many lefties. I'm not sure the U.S. can be saved. Yeah, Challenger. I don't know. It's also just very unfortunate. Just how I don't know. I just feel like it's strangely, and especially like in the younger. I can tell you from like younger people like loving your country is like not cool, which is just like weird. Or it's like cool to like hate on America. Like the best way I can describe it is like when everybody says like, "Oh, how'd you do in that test?" Like, "Oh yeah, I did horrible," and everyone's like, "Oh yeah," and even if you think you did decent, you go, "Oh yeah, I did horrible." Like everybody just says that in school. You know what I mean? But like it's weirdly the commentary of like, "Oh yeah, America," like why? Like why do? How did that become the standpoint? Like I don't know. Like, and I don't get me wrong. Like, of course, America's gonna have problems, and everywhere has their problems. But if you look at the whole world, like, I think we're I'm pretty fucking lucky to be here, and like everything it has. But I don't know. I don't want to get political, but it's also just sad how divided everybody is, and that's kind of why I like a GameStop so much. I mean, one of the many gazillion factors, but the people that like GameStop stock, at the end of the day, I really like. If someone else likes GameStop, I look at them as somebody I want to be in touch with. I look past all differences. I mean, obviously, unless you're like a murderer or something, then I can't be friends with you. Sorry. But, like I look past differences because you just like the same stock as me. So, hey, there's something in common. We don't have to hate each other's guts. Even if we have completely different political beliefs, completely different opinions on this or that. But yeah, so that's really one of the most incredible things to me. But I can't believe this got removed. Let's see. It's the same post here, so I'll read it here. I forgot what Jungle is. It's like a spin-off, right? It was some like mod drama. I don't know. I never really kept up with the whole mods thing on Superstonk. I've always read Superstonk, but actually I really don't even anymore these days, just on occasion. Um, it's like when something happens, I kind of just check it because it's just like a lot of like spam. And like Expo was saying before, it seems kind of compromised, but um, it's pronounced Bloodbath and Beyond. Oh my God, that guy Kaz is crazy, yo. That guy's he always starts tweeting randomly about it. Every day he's like, Bloodbath and Beyond merger. You heard it here first. He's always like, today is July 12th, or today, I don't know why I said July. Today is March 29th, 2023. Bed Bath & Beyond, buy as much as you can. It's going up. The merger with GameStop, Ryan Cohen is coming to save the day. I'm telling you, you heard it here first. I reported on it. Bed Bath & Beyond. Like, this fucking weirdo. Such an interesting dude. So many interesting dudes out there, right? And I'll just tell you this, guys. Tetron, we're always going to, we as someone else, Tetron, I'm always going to keep it real here. I'm not going to start saying stuff like that. Like, I've really just tried to keep thoughts and opinions. What do you think about the GMERICA NFTs? If you had $150 worth of EFT, would you buy one of the NFTs or just hold all the ETH? Yep, I would absolutely buy one if I had some ETH on hand because I love the company and really just holding a special part of what they're doing. I think it's super dope just because I have the passion for GameStop. And beyond that, I think it has value because of the amount of people that have passion for GameStop. And then beyond that, it's also, shopping the company. And if I believe in the stock, I want to support the company. I want to shop the company. So that's their digital avenue. So it's another way of supporting the company. Just same way you see the things like shop GameStop, support GameStop, like shop GameStop to support GameStop in terms of e-commerce or just going to their stores. I think it's the same with some of their NFTs, like maybe not going to buy every one, but hey, if you can buy one here or there and like you truly want that, obviously it has to be something you want, then yeah, I think that's totally, awesome. And I think down the line, I definitely will grab one at some point in time. But right now, I just have a little bit of Loopring, a little bit of Ethereum in my wallet. So just kind of letting that rock. And I stake it through Loopring's network. Yep, only in U.S. loving your country is not cool. I believe it's on purpose. Almost every other country is highly nationalist. I know America's full of sins, but what country isn't? Still out to love your country. That's fact, stands out. And yeah, Challenger, I think you're right. It's this crazy like ideology. Like I don't know. I guess just I don't know what people expect. Like it's kind of crazy. You forgot about aliens though. Yeah, XFit, dude. They could be here already. They could be here already. Maybe that's why everything's unfolding the way it has the past few years. Like the new NFTs more than ETH. I hear you on that, Danzo. That's for sure. People made more money today holding an NFT than AMC all year. Yeah. It's crazy. I was actually looking at that GameStop has, and crazy how much like volume. 1,000 ETH traded. GameStop as a creator, I was looking at all their collections. They actually have like a bunch of stuff. So the more of these they come out with, they obviously are creating them so they keep the revenue, like for the creator's cut. This was what some of the pins people got airdropped. I don't know if it was ever figured out why exactly they were airdropped. But the power-up rewards pass. So this was given out if it was, I believe, keep volatile, keep under wraps, declassified for pros only. So I believe this was when it was like pros weekend or something like that. And it was like if you spent over $200 and you connected your wallet, you'd get this free NFT. And if you had bought over $200 worth of stuff at GameStop, you would have been supporting the company and then had items. But also, if you truly wanted, you could have just turned around, sold this NFT, and then used that money to buy more stuff from GameStop, or just turn. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of crazy. So seeing the value in that like makes me think, damn, next time there's something like that, I think I need to go on a shopping spree at GameStop because the NFT will be worth that much value. But also, I'm gonna have to decide if I want to hold or hodl. Considering it's something of GameStop's. But yeah, man, I wear medium too. I've been trying to buy some clothing at GameStop for months. They never have my size. Damn, I've actually, what's crazy? This sweatshirt, I wear large, but this is an extra large. And I was in the store and I just was in a GameStop because I was just at the mall, and literally anytime I'm at a mall and there's a GameStop, if I'm like with my girlfriend, or in this case I was with my aunt, so I was like, hey, I'll be at GameStop. I'll catch up with you in a little bit. I gotta go stop over there, and it was like somebody returned these. I guess it didn't fit them. Two like sweatshirts, and it wasn't my size, but I'm like it's buy one get one. I'm like, oh damn. And I'll be honest with you guys, I was actually gonna give it away on the stream, but I gave it to a close friend, my boy JPP Investments. He hops on here sometimes. You guys probably see him in the chat before, but he's a big homie, so I was like, I'm gonna give it to my guy JPP. So I got buy one get one on these sweatshirts in store because somebody returned them, and I was kind of like, whatever, I'll just wash it. Who gives a fuck? Like, it was like not used, but it was just returned. Just on that like coat rack of random stuff. So I was like, yeah, what? That's like, who cares? Yeah, I was like skeptical because I was like, this is too good. I was like, and I think I only paid like 25 or $20 for both of them or something crazy. Like I got absolutely blessed. No, maybe 30. I don't know. Whatever it was a crazy deal where I was like, damn, I can't believe I'm getting this. And then I got two GameStop shirts when I think it was buy one, get one half off. I had two, but my girlfriend stole one because she said it's a super comfortable shirt. So, but hey, she's supporting the brand, she's supporting the company. She herself owns a few shares, so she likes the stock. She had to have the shirt. What can I say? But I also have another one. I got to rock that more. I always kind of throw on the sweatshirt because it's still a little cold by me, but as it gets warmer, I'll start wearing it more. While it's insane, this is just the early stages of their NFT reward system. Yeah, exactly, Windfall. I really feel like it's just the beginning. Everything they're doing, it's really just the beginning in terms of digital assets and collectibles. Because I just really feel like the industry has to catch up. Oh, shit. Knocking things over. um, but I really feel like the industry has to kind of catch up in the sense like somebody actually tagged it to me today or put it to me on Twitter, or I forgot exactly where somebody mentioned to me, but how basically Sony filed something for using digital assets slash NFTs. So you see other companies that are involved in gaming slowly start to file for trademarks, patents, rights to use, all these different small things behind the scenes that you're not necessarily hearing about yet. But GameStop already kind of has like the foundation laid down, so to speak. So I feel like they can really build up as the whole gaming industry kind of turns towards Web3 and just NFTs becoming more relevant in games. And I really think that's through the name of like digital assets or like, I don't know, like in-game or blockchain items. I don't know. It's going to be called something else besides an NFT because the name NFT has just been soiled at this point, honestly, which is just, and it's just how it went, because they were just way overhyped and just people were making stupid money on stupid things. So, of course, people were seeing that and like just getting like jealous or like that's the thing. People love shitting on people too, like in this world. So when NFT started falling apart, everyone's like, "Ha! I told you. Oh, you thought you were smart. Oh, gotcha." But it's like people just think it's like people literally just hate NFT. You can be like, okay, but why? Like, what is an NFT? They don't even know. They're just saying it to say it, like because everybody's saying it. It's pretty funny. So I look at it as like the name has to be different because everybody's just soiled the name NFT. So, but it really what it is it technically still will be an NFT. It's just a name, and people have now associated just pictures of like strange things that were selling for ridiculous prices previously. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's because it was just so hyped up. So now the name's soiled. So I feel like I have to go buy like digital collectibles or something. Nintendo Switch OLED model, The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. GameStop decided to do this in their in-store purchase only. Expect some foot traffic. I like that. That's awesome. I didn't even catch that. I bet if I go to GameStop's regular website, I could catch that. But yeah, guys, I was deleting stuff from my Twitter. I don't know if anybody caught, if you guys were here before when I was saying that. So that's why some of the stuff like on the side here of the screen, like right above me, is like messed up. I was just like deleting stuff, and I guess I deleted some of the files I needed for my OBS like pre-setups, but whatever, I'm getting there. Tetron wants to do another podcast together in person this time. I got a gift for my friend token NFT holders, hodlers. All right, dude, let's do it. I'm John Lacey. Let's do it. We'll have to make it happen. We can do it in the basement here, dude. We'll set up the like podcast table and the mic. But yeah, I gotta do some shopping at GameStop. And guys, if you ever need batteries, GameStop sells batteries, so why not support the company? What was I gonna? I was gonna check something on here though. I can't remember. Um, we can change the name to Digital Asset, no problem. I agree, XBit. I totally agree. It'd be easy because it's like, it's what it is. You know, that's really what it comes down to. It's not about the name. It's really about what the underlying thing is. Oh, this is what Danzo was talking about right here. The all new Zelda accessories, and yeah, pre-order your local GameStop. I like that. I like that. It gets people coming in. Oh, that's pretty cool. Promotion. Get a Fandango. Is that what it's called? Fandango? I've never even said this word before. I've heard of it, but Fandango? No. Yeah, Fandango. Fandango. No, I think I had it right the first time. Movie ticket. See Super Mario Bros. Movie up to $15 ticket value. When you spend $75 or more, it's like Mario items at GameStop. That's pretty dope. I like how the top brands here too, so people can easily be like, oh yeah, I like that brand. Let me shop it. But I love this company. Oh yes. So sorry guys, I barely even went through the actual 10K. But look at the number here. See the transfer agent. And then on this one they mentioned Seed & Co. And something else interesting that someone mentioned to me on Twitter. This number, right, is as of March 22nd, 2023. This one was as of January 29th, 2022. So you would have thought this current DRS count would have been as of the end of Q1, but it's not, which is just strange. Why is it reported like that? And why was it worded like this? Is it in a different section? Item 5. Where was it here? Here it was under item 8. Earnings per share. Or it was kind of in between. Notes to consolidated financial statements. But here it was under just market for registrants, common equity related to stockholder matters and issuers' purchases of equity securities. And I don't know, I've been reading a lot of different stuff. So everything I'm about to say in this next 30 seconds or so is allegedly. Allegedly, GameStop's, and look this stuff up for yourself because I've just been reading a lot of stuff and just trying to keep up with everything, but I haven't had time to like really confirm everything. Allegedly, GameStop's report was reviewed before it was put out, and it was worked on by like a third party in some way. So, I mean, this looks more prepared like a classic like Wall Street like report, like this type of thing. I mean, I don't know. That's just kind of a gut feeling. But obviously, couldn't just change it completely. So, I don't know. Like, it's just interesting. And then the way it was delayed is just strange. And it was also, I don't know. I don't know. It's just the whole thing is, it's a head scratcher, right? Everything that's kind of happened in the past like week or so. We thought GMERICA was gonna be this big thing. So, allegedly bullet swaps expiring, 10K is delayed, right? So many different things. Very, very interesting. But GameStop officially talks about New York Stock Exchange and the symbol GME in their 10K. This means that any stocks traded in Germany under the symbol GS2C are not accounted for. Remember the split dividend fiasco in Germany? DRS your stuff, in particular if you're not American. So that's really interesting. Let's see that. Okay, let's see. However, turned are non-custodial. Oh, okay, no. See, this is the stuff I really want to look at, like the very, very fine print, and really just understand some of these things, and hope to like pick up little details that make me like, oh, I understand that about the business better now, or oh, hey guys, I have something to tell you about that I kind of just uncovered here, or came to understand. We could change the name of digital assets, no problem. And I'm John Lacey. I'll text you. Bet. I'll check it after. Sounds good. Let's make it happen soon. All right. I don't know where this is exactly, but this is interesting, if true. GME. Oh, that it's literally the line 5 thing. And it's just so strange they put the name Seed & Co., the actual DTC representative. Oh yeah, so our Class A of common stock is traded on the New York Stock Exchange under the symbol GME. As of March 22nd, 2023, there were, wait, let's zoom in a little, 197,058 record holders of our Class A common stock. So is it as a whole, or is that DRS? That's still what I can't fully understand. Seems like DRS, right? But because if your shares in a brokerage, you're not the record shareholder. Seed & Co. is. So it has to be DRS. I'm kind of answering my own question there. Excluding the approximately 228.7 million shares of our Class A common stock held by Seed & Co. on behalf of the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, or approximately 75% of our outstanding shares. Approximately 76 million shares of our Class A common stock were held by record holders as of March 22nd, 2023, or approximately 25% of our outstanding shares. Is it me, or is there like, it just has like too much fine print there? There were 197,000 record holders of our Class A common stock. Okay, excluding the approximately 228.7 million shares of our Class A stock held by Seed & Co. on behalf of Depository Trust Company Clearing Corporation. Approximately 76 million shares of our Class A common stock were held by record holders as of March 2023. I don't know, I'm trying to see if there's like a fine detail, because this post right here, what I'm about to show you, this is what was removed on Superstock, which also makes me kind of think, this is even more so interesting if it was removed on Superstock. But the 10K report uses very different wording from previous 10Q and even previous 10K report. This report does not say the precise number of shares directly registered, as mentioned in the previous report. It mentions the number of shares claimed to be held by Seed & Co. on behalf of the DTCC, 228.7 million, and the remainder that is held by record holders. The use of the name shares held by Seed & Co. is a very crucial part here. This is a very important detail, and I'll show you later why. Let's start with the paragraph on the form. And I also quickly want to say that it's interesting, this is also the same quarter where we would have seen if changing shares from plan to book did in fact have a difference. This would have theoretically been the quarter where it would have been visible. So one can only wonder if that caused an impact in some shape or form, but time will tell. We'll see what the numbers look like down the line, and what I'm so excited what the next 10Q is going to look like, because one, will the company be able to turn a profit again? That would be epic if they did that in Q1, because historically Q1's not their strongest quarter. So if they could turn a profit in Q1, keep strong free cash flow, and then we can see what the direct register shares are listed as. Does it go back the old way? The shares held a transfer agent, or is it always going to look like how we see item 5 right here every time going forwards? That's definitely something I'm curious about. But to go on here, our Class A common stock is traded on the New York Stock Exchange NYSE under the symbol GME. As of March 22, 2023, there were 197,000. Okay, we read this already. This is the exact thing from the report. So let's compare this with the previous DRS statements as per the 10Q forms in GameStop's Investor Relations website. Okay, so Q3 2022. As of October 29th and October 30th, there were 7.3 million and 4.4 million, respectively, of unvested restricted stock and restricted stock units. As of October 29th and October 30th, in 2022 and 2021, respectively, there were 311.6 million and 308 million, respectively, of shares of Class A common stock that are legally issued and outstanding or are unvested restricted share units that represent a right to one share of Class A common stock. As of October 29th, 2022, 71.8 million shares of our Class A common stock were directly registered with our transfer agent. And it's exactly like that in all the other ones. So that's really interesting because I'm reading it now. I read this before, but respectively, our shares of Class A common stock that are legally issued and outstanding or are unvested restricted share units that represent a right to one share of Class A common stock. That's just completely different wording than this report, right? And it's just like, why? You could only wonder why. What interesting. It's always interesting timing, too. With all this stuff, there's always interesting timing. And it's just like, everybody says it sounds. I understand. It just seems crazy, right? But the timing is always just too perfect, too. And I mean, it seems crazy to the people just that you explain it to, and they're like, they don't. They kind of like okay, okay, Noah, okay. Like you talk about this a lot, but I don't really get it. But I don't know. That's just me. Does this mean 100% shares owned? I don't think so, Danzo. I think it's just more confusion. And I'm sorry, you probably said that like way before, so I'm not sure which part you meant that relative to. Um, Dang, guys, already 10:45. I think I'm gonna wrap up this post, and then I might have to call it a night because I do have to take care of a couple more things before I get to bed here. What is registered shareholder? So, registered shareholders, also known as shareholders of record, are people or entities that hold shares directly in their own name on the company registrar. The issuer, or more usually its transfer agent, such as Computershare, keeps records of ownership for the registered shareholders and provides services such as transferring shares, paying dividends, coordinating shareholder communications, and more. Shares can be held in both electronic book entry through direct registered system or certified form when permitted by the issuer of the company. From previous DD, we know this includes not only household investors with direct registered shares, but also insiders that hold them with the transfer agent. Okay, I like to confirm that for myself elsewhere, but that makes sense. However, one important detail that is that mutual funds do not hold shares with Cineco as stated by SEC itself. I repeat, mutual fund shares are not held at Cineco. So I asked the SEC, search the SEC sub. Let's see. Hmm. Purchased. Mutual funds are not DTC eligible. They are purchased and redeemed, no secondary market between brokers and mutual fund entities. Technically, transversions, often part of the fund organization or a third-party processor. The National Securities Clearing Corporation has a platform called FundServe related to a related service, asking network that connects brokers, placing and settling mutual fund orders with fund transfers. That's funny. Sometimes when I call back offices, or I think Fidelity, like when I call their back office, they have an option on there. It's like press 1 for this, press 2 for that, press 3 for FundServe. And I always thought, what the fuck is FundServe? But that's interesting. It's always interesting to me when I see something in my research with GameStop and just various economic things that have crossovers with me at work. I'm like, oh, I see this in the real world. Let me see how I can tie it together. Crazy. But this is all allegedly here. So what this guy is saying is mutual funds, including index funds, are not DTC eligible. They are purchased and redeemed, no secondary market between brokers and mutual fund entities. Technically, transfusions, often part of the fund organization or a third-party processor. So the same thing he's saying there. So in the other post that I had pulled up there. Cineco is a nominee for DTC, but mutual funds are not DTC eligible. What does this mean? Cineco is a nominee, okay. Companies that regularly engage with securities are likely to interact with the Depository Trust Company. The DTC is the world's largest central securities depository based in New York City. The company is responsible for electronic record-keeping securities. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Cineco is the main custodial nominee that the DTC designates to be the holder of record of the securities and managers that are in its custody. Cineco is a specialized financial institution. Securities will be deposited with or on behalf of DTC and registered in the name of Cineco as a nominee for the company. Okay. We know there were 71.8 million, and we know that 32.8 million are held by mutual funds, and insiders hold at least 38. We can assume that some of the insiders hold them with the transfer issue. We just don't know who does. We know, per the SEC's own words, that mutual funds shares aren't held by the DTC under its custodial nominee. They're not DTC eligible. So I just have to confirm that. But because I know like maybe mutual fund isn't, but who's to say the shares aren't sent to some account that's in the name of Seed & Co. or represented by Seed & Co. for that mutual fund, right? Or for the benefit of that mutual fund, some baloney behind the scenes. So I don't know. I'm skeptical, but it's an interesting post, that's for sure. This means that the 308 million shares available, at least 110.31 million are not held by Seed & Co. But Seed & Co. states they hold 228.7 million shares. The float is 308 million shares. What does discrepancy come from? This guy says, too long to read. And again, this is all what this user thinks. User/darkhoof. He posted on Superstomp, got removed. Looking at a GME jungle here if you want to take a look. Okay, yeah, so ACATS is like fund serve, but that's a different topic there. Therefore, my interpretation of 10K form can only be GameStop with this 10K form just stated all the relevant financial authorities and to the entire world that DTCC and Seed & Co. are misreporting the number of shares they hold. They do not hold mutual fund shares as stated by the SEC itself. If you remove mutual fund shares and household investors from the float, only 203.4 million shares that Seed & Co. could reasonably claim as being held by them. This is all allegedly, again, but we need to do more DD into ownership structure of mutual fund stock holdings or how we can be abused by our opponents. Hopefully Dr. Trimbath or Dave Lauer can chime in. Maybe this is some rabbit hole that might excite some wrinkle brains. Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't really understand what kill shot means. As long as I got you to read it, I'm okay with that. No, I don't read. Yeah, no, at the end of the day, I think the kill shot, so to speak, is just GameStop succeeding as a company and just operating efficiently, turning a profit. So that's really what it boils down to, in my eyes. Everything else is just extra and just directly registered shares. If the company, and I really think they're going there one day, probably more so, it's going to look realistic in like 2024, maybe even a little bit before, or it'll be happening in the start of 2024. But I think back half of 2024 is more realistic. But S&P 500, GameStop getting into that. Morant said it a while back, and I thought to myself, really? That's something they could do? And then they got into like SP 400 or whatever it was. And just hearing what Morant said about it and learning more about GameStop over time and seeing the direction they're moving in and really seeing them actually executing on some of the things they've been talking about in the past, I was like, damn, this really could happen. And when that happens, DRS is going to be a huge factor in my personal opinion because tons of mutual funds, ETFs will have to go out and buy shares just because they'll have to have shares in their S&P 500 fund, so they'll need shares at GameStop just automatically. And that'll be a lot of buying. And if a lot of shares are directly registered to individuals, even if still just 25% of shares are outstanding at that moment in time, which by then I think could be way more, even if just 25% are still directly registered, that's an insane number of shares outstanding registered when tons and tons of funds have to come in and start buying shares because of the fact it's in the S&P 500. So we'll see what happens with that, though, but I think it's certainly on the radar. Earnings was the real game changer. I think you're right, Ryan Sung. I think you're absolutely right. And that's how you just, at a certain point, the whole, I think the idea is that the short and distort, type of deal, if you're betting against a company, you think you could still keep doing it because you're like, okay, well, if they can't maintain profitability, like we still have a shot with our position. But if you're betting against the stock, eventually you have to have the perspective of realization at some point. This company's making money. They're not going to stop making money. The short thesis isn't what it was when we got in. So at some point, it will have to be unwound. And I just think naturally it'll be unwound by the company's success because then they can also do things on top of it to buy back shares, issue dividends, for example, in the long term deliver value. And that's all while potentially, mutual funds, ETFs buying in with shares because of the company getting to the S&P 500. And just over time, if the company's actually making money, look at how many people liked the stock before the company even really made real money. So if they really continue to drive forwards and succeed, I think more people will really like the stock. And yeah, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way. But yeah, I agree that earnings really was the game changer because it just keeps moving them step by step, brick by brick in the right direction. I thought you need highly liquid stock to be in S&P 500. DRS removes liquidity. Am I wrong? No, you're correct, Danzo. It does remove liquidity. But that's a great point because I believe you do need a liquid stock. But what is deemed to be liquid? Let's look that up. That's a good question. Entry requirements. A deadline to submit the application like for both. Okay. Okay, so they need a little bit of a larger market cap. A market cap of 12.7 billion. The value of its market capitalization is to trade annually. GameStop's definitely does. At least 250,000 of its shares trade in each of the previous 6 months. Okay, that's still happening with GameStop. Had its initial public offering at least in what? Yes, definitely. Um, have a positive sum of the previous 4 quarters of earnings as well as the most recent quarter. So that could happen in the next throughout the next 4 quarters. Absolutely. Um, but if Q1, Q2 isn't that strong, that's why I say Q3, Q4, Q1, Q2 in the next year. Maybe then it kind of enters in mid 2024. But most of its shares in the public's hands. Directly registered shares are hands in the public, right? So that's definitely interesting. At least 250,000 of its shares trade in each of the previous 6 months. Definitely happening. The value of its market capitalization trades annually. It's happening. And maybe that's why Ryan Cohen wouldn't buy up as many shares as he possibly can, um, because if then too many shares are out of the public's hands because too many insiders. I mean, I don't think they have to worry about that right now, but maybe that's kind of where his head's at in the long term and why he didn't buy the full 20% he's eligible to buy, and he still owns about 11.9% of the whole company or shares outstanding. Would you ever reinvest your GME profits back in the S&P 500 long term or look outside the stock market like real estate? Mouvier, honestly, I think I'm going to put it in multiple places. I think eventually real estate is something I want to get into down the line, but definitely not anytime in the short term. But yeah, I definitely would put in various places, and I do put money into the S&P 500 right now, but only through my 401k with my job, because they'll match a little bit over time. The longer I stay with the company, the more they'll vest into it, the more they'll match it. And I don't put into anything else in my 401k, and I don't put a massive amount into the 401k either. I'm just trying to get the ball rolling, for first retirement accounts. And then I have my traditional, my Roth IRA with GameStop anyway, so I'm chilling there. And by the way, those are my only non-DRS shares for me personally, are each of my retirement accounts. But in my 401k, I do S&P 500 straight up. I don't do any other mutual funds. Also, because I think I'll figure out more about retirement a lot more down the line. I mean, I'm just trying to get the ball rolling generally. So yeah, I think S&P 500. At the end of the day, if the S&P 500, I mean, the whole market is fugazi to fugazi. But if that thing stops going up, I feel like America as a whole has huge problems. And yeah, so I don't know. I'll definitely be putting some in. But at this point, it's looking like a Tesla plus profitability path for us with the dilution of DRS. Oh no, addition of DRS. I was gonna say dilution. What the heck? But yeah, I just completely misread that. My bad. DRS. Yeah, no, I think you're right, Ryan Sung. I really think it's gonna be like what Tesla did over a couple year period, but on like steroids. Like I really think so. I think it's gonna be just catastrophic. I really don't think like I even refrain from saying this these days. Like some of my older videos, I definitely said it more like MOAS. Like then I started saying like, and it's true. Like what MOAS is to you could be very different to me. It's just like a theory, right? It's just the idea that there's mass amounts of demand and very limited amounts of supply, and that just creates mass price appreciation just due to the simple mechanics of supply and demand. And that's really what it stood out to me when I got into it. People were like, but I don't understand. I'm like, it's just supply and demand. There's not enough supply and there's a lot of demand. Allegedly, right? But just saying that, or just like that's what caught my attention originally, and that's really what it comes down to. So S&P 500 entry for GameStop means a lot of demand for shares being bought through mutual funds and ETFs that own S&P 500, and also just gives it that much more credibility. And the company succeeding, just and the gaming industry changing. I think just more and more people open their eyes, and I just think it's still really early. And when it all started, did I expect for it to be this big investment of mine and really my perspective be like this right now? No. I mean, I think the coolest part about this whole thing and why I really started to make YouTube videos is this is just like an epic journey, and I've just learned so much, and I'm gonna keep learning and just following what the company does, and yeah, so it's pretty dope. But definitely, move here to like reiterate a little more on your question or just answer a little more. Definitely want to put into like various assets. I really feel like some kind of learning over time, or I mean, I don't have like bad money I'm investing at all, so take this with a grain of salt. But I feel like you should have different types of investments, and what do I mean by that? Like maybe some like ETFs or whatever. Like invest in what you know. Number one, that's definitely key. But like, let's say you don't like you only like GameStop, and you just want to make sure you have money like invested in the market as a whole. Maybe you want to add some money to the S&P 500, and then you like GameStop, or you find another company you really like, and you just put money into those two particular companies and like S&P 500, or those are just your stock side of things. But then maybe you have some bonds, maybe you have some real estate you start setting up over time, something you're doing with that in terms of investing. Maybe you have a little bit of crypto, maybe you do a private placement, you do a promissory. There's a lot of different things you can do out there that are like long-term investments that as long as you have knowledge on it, that's really what's key. And that's what really GameStop's telling me, like, or taught me, or teaching me. If you don't know about it, like, don't just go into it. And I've seen also with my job now, working like private assets, which is obviously like different than GameStop, but where people get into trouble is when they rush into things. And I feel like in the beginning of GameStop it was about rushing, buy, buy, buy. And now I'm like, no, when I have money available, I'm going to invest in a company I like. I'm not going to just go chasing. It's like I like the Warren Buffett quote about stocks being like baseball, but there's no called strikes. You can watch as many pitches come by as you want, but until you actually swing the bat, there's no strikes, right? Until you actually go put your money into it, you just keep watching what's in front of you. And I just feel like that's how I feel about GameStop. Okay, well, I like the stock, and I'm not going to just race to buy in, race to buy in. But don't get me wrong, when the price was falling, I'm like, damn, I really want to buy as much as I can right now because I like this company. So you have to. It's a scale. It's like anything else in life, balance. But just my perspectives there. GameStop will most likely stay cash heavy during this recession. That's why I'm not really looking into any big news other than good earnings for now. I think you're totally right, Ryan Sung. I think in a high interest rate environment, it's extremely important. But I do think an acquisition could absolutely happen. But what I was saying in a previous stream is I think realistically, they wouldn't want to spend maybe more than 250 million or like 20% of their cash and cash equivalents. Because I feel like if they are going to make an acquisition, they want to have, like we said, or like I was just saying, like a good cash position, or like you just said, or hey, what's up, Morantz? Thanks for being here, man, dude. Catching the late night stream, you know what's up. But yeah, they would want to have cash, to be in good financial standing through any hardships or anything that could pop up, especially in a high interest rate environment. So I feel like if they're going to make an acquisition, they want to use a small portion of that cash to make sure they're still in good shape. And that acquisition would obviously have to be something that fits right into their business, and definitely not Bed Bath & Beyond. I'm sorry, but it's just not. And I'm dropping the GME is buying BBBY video. Dude, all right, Marantz, I'm going to see what you got there. I know that's going to be spicy video, that's for sure. But yeah, X-Fit's got the smirk because he knows what's up. But yeah, dude, Morantz, this is dude, when you were the first to say it, or like put me on to the idea of, or just even just I didn't even really think about it. Like GameStop getting to the S&P, you said a while back, and I was like, really? I mean, how could they do that? Then I look at it, I'm like, damn, it really is possible. And seeing everything you do, I'm like, damn, it really kind of seems like that's the direction they're going in for that being bound to happen in the next couple of years. Cheers, everyone's here. But damn, oh my god, everybody's joining. Snacks, Linda Real, thank you all for being here. All the homies are here. But yeah, dude, contacts are drying out. Oh my god, I went to the airport today. Always gotta love that, picking up people from the airport. But it wasn't too bad. The flight was a little delayed, but that's why we got the late night stream going here. But I really got to look more into the 10K because I really didn't even have a chance to read it today. It's been so busy at work the past week and a half. I swear, every time it's around earnings for GameStop, so suddenly everybody wants to do every transfer and every possible thing that I do at my job. It just becomes so busy, and I'm like, oh, of course. But press on. Invest in inverse Kramer. It'll outperform the S&P. Mouvier, it seems to have in the past, so I might just have to do that. Yeah, but it is crazy. This guy Kramer. I mean, it's funny because when I first got interested in stocks, I remember watching him, thinking like, my grandpa watches this guy, or like he watches him in the morning. Like I'll watch this like Mad Money thing. Like, what's this all about? But what a clown he's come to be over time. And yeah, in hindsight, I'm like, damn, I used to actually like listen to that guy. Like in the very beginning, like when I was high school, I remember watching at night, and like it's funny, even my dad knows that guy. Like he doesn't know anything about stocks, but like he's like, oh yeah, I remember that guy. He talks like mega fast. Like used to watch him on that show, and he'd be like buzzing and shit, like buttons. I'm like, yep, that's the guy. Tetron is grinding tonight, like Morantz. Dude, Morantz is always grinding. That guy puts in the work. But yes, dude, I'm trying tonight. Gotta always push forwards. Because in a couple weeks, guys, I am actually going to be going to Texas. It's official. I booked my tickets. I'm going to go visit my friend who's serving in the military right now. He's nice enough to let me stay with him. I'm going to go with my other buddy, and then we're just going to go like out for a long weekend with him. So that should be a fun time. But it's going to be San Antonio, not near GameStop's headquarters. So unfortunately, right? Because I'm pretty sure like Grapevine. Right? Is it Grapevine, Texas? Or I don't want to. I'll figure that all out. Whatever. But point is, I can't go see like GameStop's headquarters. But also, like, what would I do? I just like walk in. Hey, I like your stock. I love your company. Right? But I was looking like, damn, GameStop's based out of Texas. But it'll be cool to see Texas. So I'll have to hit you guys with a Texas update or a Texas GME stock thoughts. But there will be like a stream missed because of that. Because I'll be traveling the next day and I have something important to do the night before. Um, then hopefully no delays, so I can get right back that following Monday. But that's going to be, not yet. I'll let you guys know when that gets closer. But it's going to be cool, to try and visit a GameStop in Texas. That'll be a goal of mine. So just to kind of see some other things going on. But see, no marketable securities the year before because interest rates were trash. But now they have the marketable securities. And again, guys, I haven't even really had a chance to read the 10K. I obviously I saw it and like I looked at DRS count and I looked at some things, but I really want to see like the very, very fine print and just really get to understand it. This is good. They do have money available to borrow if necessary, but obviously they don't want to. Our cash equivalents are carried at fair value, consist of U.S. government bonds and notes, money market funds, cash deposits in commercial banks, and highly rated direct short-term instruments that mature in 90 days or less. Yes, so this is actually something I just realized recently, that you see cash and cash equivalents and marketable securities mature in 90 days or less is cash and cash equivalents. So cash and cash equivalents might be just some in actual cash in a bank account. Some of it might be in a money market. Some of it might be in short-term bonds that are less than 90 days with the U.S. government. So that's all there. But anything over 90 days are these marketable securities right here. But we have a little bit of like is the yield curve still inverted? I'd have to check that. But it makes sense why they wouldn't even want to go too crazy into marketable securities, because especially with interest rates rising, why not just keep doing? And the yield curve being inverted last I checked, and again, I have to check that again. But if that's the case, then why would you not do shorter term bonds? But our marketable securities will secure at fair value include investments in certain highly rated short-term government bonds and notes that mature in less than 1 year. Okay, so that's from 3 months to 1 year. So 3 to 12 months, not too bad. Market securities. Okay, our investment policy is designed to preserve principal and liquidity of our short-term investments. Love to see that. In August 2022, the company opened investment portfolios consisting of U.S. government treasury notes and bills, an aggregate amount of $250 million as of January 28, 2023. The investment portfolio's aggregate balance was $252.6 million, of which $251.6 million are recognized in marketable securities, and $1 million are recognized in cash and cash equivalents. So yeah, like that's just tiny details, and it's like boring to kind of just read through. And I'm not obviously not going to go through the whole thing on the stream here, but I really, really want to like read this thing head to toe, because I just want to keep getting more and more familiar with it. Because at the end of the day, just like a lot of you guys out there, like I'm really just learning as I go. Like I keep kind of reiterating that, but I think it's important because I'm not trying to be like, oh yeah, I'm all this, I'm all that. I'm just saying what I think. And if if I know something wrong, people are like, no, it's like this. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you for telling me. Let me correct my knowledge there. Like, and even just learning something small, like, oh yeah, cash and cash equivalents means 90 days or less by definition, in the fine print here. And then marketable securities in GameStop's case, in the fine print, we can see it's still in less than 1 year. And in a raising interest rate environment, I think that's important and a smart move on direction or the people running the company, because they see interest rates are rising and it seems like they'll continue to rise. I mean, of course, there's still uncertainty and we'll see and whatnot. But if that's the case, why would you want to do long dated marketable securities? But it's all about the fine print. So I'm going to keep reading that. But yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up here for tonight, guys, because it is pretty late. I was actually going to wrap it up by 10:30, but it's crazy. I couldn't do that. Too much fun doing the live streams. But really, guys, I appreciate you all. Hope got everyone thinking tonight, and just kind of look at the 10K for yourself. Read the fine print most you can. I'm going to come back with more information next Monday on the stream. Definitely we'll go through the 10K again at some point, and who knows what'll be going on by then. Seems like a lot of different things have been going on lately. A little bit of hype here and there. But hey, I mean, at the end of the day, it's really all about the long term. And yeah, so we'll just see what happens in the next week or so till the next time I stream. But it is what it is. I just like the stock, and I'll just keep seeing what happens over time. But appreciate you all. Hope everyone out there has a good night. But see you guys.